game for the fighting stages where he actually can have such a big amount of relevance regardless of how the early game goes. He's got Doinb to help him, so even if he is the Sejuani, he has Doinb following him around. Makes up for that anyway in terms of damage output. Gank success rate very high here from the side of QG. If they just don't get denied that jungle like happened last game, they can get their early game rolling. They will be a very strong side in the mid-game.
Yeah, QG just need to smooth maybe a couple things out there in the early game, but we're into Champion Select now. Some bans are through. Fizz, good call on that ban against Flandre once more, and actually going to ban away Ellis. Thresh's Snake, unsurprisingly, take away Rise.
So they do get rid of the Thresh here, maybe even looking towards that Hecarim wholeheartedly or forcing the Hecarim ban so that they can get a support of their choice, the Alistar being available as well. We'll see what Snake want to actually respond with, and there it is.
Yep, another top lane ban, or maybe a mid lane ban with the first one, but certainly a top lane ban for the Hecarim here. I agree. Flandre's great at it, but he knows he's not going to get it, and you cannot give it to V.
Respect the first pick is what they're doing right now. You can see the bans changing accordingly just to deny the strong champion that realistically this should have been the draft phase from QG last time round. This time, the Hecarim and the Fizz both gone, leaves open the Maokai basically as the big priority for the top laners, as one of the holy trinity essentially of what is the greatest 3 top laners for this meta at the moment. But with their last ban, it is a Draven. See you later.
Crystal's Draven going to get taken off the board, but Kallista's actually still available. I wonder, oh no they can't. I was going to say they could leave it open, but I don't think they can give it to TNT because there's no trade they can make because Hecarim's already off the board. That would have taken that instead.
If they left it open.
Oh wow, they did. Maokai actually the ban there, another top lane ban.
Yeah, the top lane focus. So it's been 3 of the strongest top lane champions that have been taken away now. You look towards the top lane perhaps to say maybe there is a priority target such as the Rumble, or you do as we would most likely expect here, you take away the Kalista. In doing that though, you leave open Alistar to be taken away. You leave open the Gragas, the Rek'Sai, and any mid lane choice is yours as well. You've got the Azir, the Cassiopeia, the Blanc as well, which is a smart decision to put that onto you. We might be seeing an interesting 2 choices here come in.
I think so, as QG do get the Kalista. Taking it away from Crystal and giving it to TNT is a nice win there for QG. But Snake, you know that they've left banned Maokai here to get 2 strong picks of their own. They actually lock in the Janna, so Ella just going to take his support away immediately, and Beast is going to get Gragas.
So they pick up the Gragas and the Janna. Janna obviously being picked against the Kalista quite confidently here and taking away the Kalista-Janna combo where Kalista can kind of just run completely rampant and just destroy the face of them. But in saying that, they're also leaving available now an Alistar-Kalista combo, and that is disgusting.
It is, and the Nars already locked in for V. Flandre not going to get to play that champion either. And Swift is hovering the Alistar here for his support TCT. These 3 picks would make QG's start to their draft very strong indeed. So we'll just see if this is what they want to take away. The Janna priority is interesting to me there for Ella. Maybe Crystal's got something really hard carry lined up in this game. But it is Alistar now for QG's 2nd and 3rd.
I really like the drafting so far from this Xiao side. The only top laner available that for some reason forgot about is that Gnar. So they lock the Gnar away, and it kind of reduces the options here. Most likely going to be the Aurelia top lane, I suppose, as the response here. But while we're looking at what they're hovering, it doesn't get much more exciting, does it?
No, I mean, I just saw you sort of frantically nodding, so I think he's like, no, please let me play this champion. I really want to play this champion.
I must play Echo.
Crystal as well. He's going through a couple different picks. We'll give Snake a bit more time to decide what they want to take away. Well, this will be a very different pick. Echo is locked in. Crystal might get Sivir here as well. It's a bit of a weird one, but Echo Sivir are their 3rd and 4th.
So that is an interesting lineup, to say the least. They've got a Janna Sivir. It's a really difficult lane to push a Sivir out of, even as a Kalista and Alistar, just because they can push you into the turret. You can basically not stop that from happening, and you kind of just have to take it. And if you're stuck under the turret as Kalista, it's a lot harder for you to get anything done. You want to be controlling the lane. What we're looking at here with the last 2 picks from the Xiao side, though, they've got the front line. They do have some sort of engage, but they're looking to build on that. They're looking to work around the Kalista at the moment and have the hyper carry there. They've got the Gnar, the pseudo carry of a Lulu who can carry now, most likely in that mid lane. Swift is back on his champ.
Finally, the Sejuani going to come through. Lulu Sedge actually running at QG's comp. And this is a nice comp that they put together. Massive front lines and tankiness here, enabling Kalista and enabling Swift. He's the other carry here in this lineup, you have to think. And the rest of the team going to come together to try and support it. I think my favorite thing, though, about these picks from Snake is that A, they clearly have a plan because this must be a comp they practice. But that's what I was going to say. It's a flex pick because Flandre plays literally everything.
I thought it might have been a flex pick, but I didn't want to say it until it actually happened. And the first thing that I notice when I look at this is he still has Smite.
I mean,
which
I
is
think he might change that, but Flandre is Flandre.
Adventurous.
Yes.
Let's go with the word adventurous. We'll see what he actually does there in terms of summoners, but it's looking to be a Smite Flandre on that Echo.
I mean, Yu's going to get Azir, so that's a nice pickup as well. I actually quite like that with the rest of their pairing. But we talked about Flandre wanting more carry potential. He's going to get the big playmaking assassin in the top lane.
He has got the assassin. Their team has been rounded out with a lot of damage. Given that they had the Sivir as well, it sort of negates a bit of that damage, but wow, is it strong now.
He has Smite, by the way.
He does have Smite.
He didn't change that.
No, that's good.
So, Narva's Echo in the top lane. Pretty normal.
Yeah, no, completely normal. Is it going to be a tank, though, with the Smite, or is it going to be mages?
You know what? That's a great question. We'll let Flandre answer that as we get into the game. Swift FP, so is the Sedge versus Gragas matchup, and Derby back on his gold comfort Lulu, and Yu's going to take Azir into the matchup into a different matchup one more time.
Funnily enough, it would have been a fine matchup mid for the Echo, but you can tell Flandre was prioritizing that. They get it away as we see the AD carries go through Sivir, Kalista, and now the supports TCT and Ella.
And it's not to take anything away from you. He's a great player. But when I think about mechanically intensive playmaking champions, I don't quite think of you, unfortunately. I certainly think of Flandre.
Well, we discussed this last game that they were more inclined to play the support-esque or assassin style, but it didn't feel like Echo really complemented the playstyle of both you and the mid laners here, from both teams, in fact, actually. Not as much as it would Flandre, who likes to play abstract champions and make plays.
Yes, he does. And that's exactly what Flandre is going to get to do.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see this matchup. I can't say I've experienced the Gnar into an Echo 1v1. It's pretty new to everyone, I would imagine. And
probably not to Flandre.
What I can tell you, though, from this matchup is it's actually quite difficult for the Gnar to make successful trades. Their passives are the exact same with the third auto attack procs, but one of them slows by a lot, whereas the other one speeds, so they actually negate each other out.
They do a little. We'll have to see how it happens. Flandre is playing Echo. Let's get into game number 2. And welcome back onto the Rift for our second game between Snake and QG. QG find themselves down a game after a very strong academic performance there from the Snake side to take them out. But if Snake were playing very standard and very safe in game number 1, they have thrown it all out the window here for this one. And Flandre is going to be playing Echo in the top lane.
They basically...
with Smite.
Yeah, they basically walked it out the door. Is just casually just decided to change this up. If you thought yesterday it was exciting with the Echo Yasuo mid, this is going to be just as weird and interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Azir, Echo, Gragas could be some fun times. Maybe Sivir to sort of tie the room together. But QG have assembled a very solid lineup for themselves. So they're going to have to overcome a bit of the wackiness here in this matchup and just play that solid, strong, aggressive League of Legends that they're known for.
Yeah, the team comp that Qiao have actually put into effect here is unbelievably strong. They've got all of the meta champions they could ever dream of and then some. Kalista is the AD carry, seeing a 92% ban rate. The one time it's not banned, it is first picked away. They've got Gnar in the top lane as well as the response. Lulu mid, Alistar and Sejuani. Every champion that you name is just unbelievable.
It is, but Snake have actually lane swapped already. They've pulled their bottom lane back into the top side as Doinby he's been continuing with a few problems of his own. He do have a pause in game number 2. But again, Snake don't seem to want to 2v2 with their bottom lane. They'd much rather have Flandre just get an advantage with his Smite.
Yeah, they're looking to get the Smite advantage, and it's weird to really predict. Echo Jungle's actually not too bad while we touch on the fact that that is in fact happening. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out and what he actually even wants to build first and foremost, because he is going to be running that Smite, which indicates challenging Echo.
Maybe. I mean, I think you said, oh yeah, so as far as blades go, yeah, I think that would make sense. Probably the challenging Smite, but what enchantment he wants is up for grabs, I guess. You said Magus. That to me seems like the most likely choice, but who knows? Who knows what Flandre wants to do today?
Well, we've seen him play Fizz and kind of just decide to go Cinderhulk and CDR stack. And we might see that again in the top lane. Echo's very good with CDR. Makes him a lot more mobile, has the utility from the shields and the stuns that can come out constantly, and just all around getting CDR and Echo is a big factor. So maybe that's what he's going to go towards.
Maybe, and I think the thing you highlighted there with the high mobility sort of ties into the fact that he doesn't need flash maybe as much as other laners. So this might seem just like Flundra's gone right off the deep end like he always does, but I think on a champion like Echo, he's actually okay without flash.
Well, I mean, mechanics aside, he has gone completely off the rails.
Yes.
But we'll see how it actually pans out. As that's a tower shot, Doinby. What are you doing, buddy?
That's not what he wanted to do. As Flandra's lining up a gank here, maybe. There's no blue buff for them to take away. Snake are committed to something. They've got 4 people pulled into the top side. V just hits level 2 now. Crystal's going to get aggressive. He's actually only level 1 as Ella comes into the lane. And instead, Beast and Flandra are going to go and try and jungle. But Swifty started on the right side of his jungle this time.
Yeah, they might actually get 2 buffs this time around, which is going to be very nice for this Sejuani, looking quite comfortable, taking all of the camps that they can before going to the red buff as well. So getting a very, very comfortable start here is Swift.
And I think Snake might have to be careful. Beast might be the one to get 3 buff this time around.
Yeah, maybe.
If he can't get over to his blue buff in time. He started red and ran to QG's blue.
They want to dive.
But Swift started there. Yeah, they do want to dive. I think V knows it as well. He's backing off.
The question is, he's already level 2, he's working towards that Mega Gnar. The kill potential isn't too high here from the side of Snake because he's very aware of the fact that they're going to go for that dive. So just smartly backing off and recognizing that. But still, he's found himself with a bit of CS, more than the Echo has in fact, and a lot of experience.
And it's a much better start here for V. We saw him in the Gnar matchup without a smite. He found some trouble as Snake really dedicating to this fast push here by the looks of things. Flandre's still here. Going to throw out a time winder to clear that wave out here. But they're actually going to look for a gank. TCT's in that brush. They found him. But a 3-man Pulverize is going to keep them safe. They'll find the pink ward that Alistar replaced down. But they are dedicating so much to getting this tower.
Yeah, they're looking to at the very least zone them away from it so that it is safe and deny as much as physically possible before the tower does go down. If they take as long as they want to actually do that and everyone's still comfortable farming, it does present them with a big advantage, or at least denial of V, who is opting to stay there rather than jungle with Swift.
Yeah, and I think the other issue is that Flandre and Beast are just following each other, but they've stuck in the top lane here. I saw the pings earlier just before this pause, and Swift is walking towards that blue buff. He's already gone back and got his jungle out, and he got very low to his red buff, so couldn't go straight to that blue without, you know, probably dying to someone wandering into the area. But they're dedicating so many resources to try and push down this turret that I think Beast is actually going to get 3 buff now.
It's looking like the makings of a 3 buff in response here, and I guess they're making the sacrifice of that. The Sejuani is going to be big. If Sejuani gets 3 buffs unattended, has been freely farming, doing a very greedy jungle camp route, knowingly that no one's going to be invading, Swift is now in a phenomenal position to hit that level 6 as soon as possible.
And we've seen what Swift can do with a Sejuani ultimate or 2. Not too bad when it comes to landing.
He's alright. Yeah,
he is alright.
I'd say he's pretty good.
I'd say he's very good.
LPL quality.
Yeah, which is pretty good, as it turns out, given the quality of some of the Sejuani players. Swift, certainly, again, on a much more carry-oriented champion. But Snake, again, it feels like this time they sort of picked a similar-looking level 1, but the execution's just been very different as Crystal looks very unhappy.
He looks quite perplexed and slightly frustrated by what is going on. I would be too. This has been a repeated amount of pauses, and I would just want to be getting in there and playing League of Legends.
I mean, Snake are up a game, so have to have some of the momentum here, but I guess with how the game's going, again, it's been very stop and start all series long for these two teams. Might just be a thing where it's, you know what, hey, I'm kind of... It's hard, honestly, as a player sometimes to get yourself back into the groove when the game is stopping and starting so much. Yeah,
the mentality starts to get affected by prolonged amounts of pauses, and you start again, then you pause again within a minute. Very frustrating, and you do need to keep on the mindset of you're actually still in this game. You need to be performing the second the pause ends, and just keeping that mentality on par with everyone else on the team. And I guess it does start to affect them, but really what we've seen so far from this game is almost the opposite of the first game from Qiao.
Yeah, it is. That's sort of what I was pointing out, and it's great that you highlighted the first game was perfect execution from start to finish there from Snake. And honestly, this time around, looking for that dive was spotted very nicely by QG. They've sort of thwarted everything that Snake have thrown at them in the early game. And I don't know how it's going to play out here. It's still early. It's about 4.5 minutes in as the game's paused at. But I don't know where Snake are going with this. They clearly want this tower, but I don't know what they do after it.
Yeah, it's still early days, and they are eventually going to get the turret. That is 100% going to happen unless they just decide on a whim to continue to proxy and do their best Singed impersonation for the next 2 to 5 minutes.
Singed.
Yeah, just sitting behind there and denying V completely. But then you're kind of sacrificing a lot. If you have 4 people sitting in one lane for too long of a period of time, then you start to deny all of the people except maybe the AD carry that you're trying to give the CS to from money entirely. And then you look at the side of QG, who have Swift freely farming, maybe going to get that 3-buff start. You've got the Kalista in particular sitting on the other side of the map, 1v0 at the moment.
Yep. Just
very content, go about their days, casually farm and scale through to a stage where they have a single item and then just look to teamfight.
Yeah, and we saw what happened with Snake in the last game, where their 2 carries, their top laner and their AD carry Crystal, were able to get free farm and just sort of get themselves very comfortably through the mid and late game stages. I think if we highlight again the QG carries, it is TNT and Swift actually. They're AD carry and jungler, and those are the ones that are getting the early easy landing phase and all of that free farm. I think Flunder is going to play a game he played a lot more of in the spring split, where he's actually going to have significantly less resources to deal with. And he's a player that's brilliant when he doesn't have items, but I still think he looks better when he does have them. So given how the game has started so far, even though it's only a few minutes in, we're going to see a very different performance here for Flunder. And if he can perform on this champion, on a brand new champion, with this sort of start, I mean, I don't know what to say about him anymore as a player. I've praised him enough, but this game will just be another great mark into Flunder's early career.
I mean, if you look at Echo, and you sit back and you actually take in what Echo is, he has a lot of utility when he is behind solely on the back of that passive, the stun that he has, and the ability to not die irrespective of what happens in a fight generally. Just because you can use that chrono shift and go back 4 seconds, regain all of the damage you just took as health and then some. Yep. It's actually not too bad to put an Echo into a lane swap situation, but most of the Echoes that we have seen so far, yesterday in particular when Invictus played it, it was heavy into stacking that ability power and doing raw damage output. So this is, at least from what we've seen so far, not going to be as big in the carry role of an Echo as we're used to seeing, mainly because of the fact that he's getting denied in the 2v1 scenario from actually getting farm.
And he's got Smite.
He's got Smite, so he's going to get a Smite item. There's a lot of questions that are being raised at the moment with what he's actually going to do.
So maybe a little too early to see where Flunder is.
To pick up the kill, they get the first blood, but it is a trade here for Flunder.
Yeah, pretty nice for Flunder to get a trade in a 1v2 situation.
You're the real hero minion.
That minion is just still, it's hanging out. Poor visual bug. It's alright, he'll chill.
How dare you call him a bug,
forever,
he's beautiful.
Forever protect Doinby. I'm sorry, you cast a minion. Melee minion? Melee. I think it's a melee minion. There's Crystal down the bottom. Still getting some farm in. TNT's actually level 7, so Crystal will have to be a bit more careful here, but Beast is going to come down. He's hit level 6 now as well. They're going to try and get some pressure down into the bot lane.
Yeah, looking to get some pressure down. The level 6 coming out very quickly here from Beast, straight away in response to Swift, who doesn't have his ultimate available, but he's kind of hanging around the bottom area. So if a fight does break out here, Swift will be on call and be there very quickly as he moves to his Krugs, and Beast is patient.
Yeah, nice pithing from Swift actually.
Ah.
Sentinel going to spot out Beast. He's like, yep, I'll leave now. Goodbye.
That's clever.
It is clever. I mean, Crystal was playing very far forward. I mean, he does normally, but you always want to make sure.
There's a point where far forward becomes something is wrong. So they do throw out that Sentinel. It spots him, because if it didn't spot him, he had to walk into the minions. So smartly backing away there is Beast, looking for another path through to find a gank that he wants. Are they going to fight over the Gromp?
No, they can't. I mean, they spotted Flunder doing it, so they're like, okay, we're going to try and deny this away from you. Flunder instead has to walk back around to his lane. So I don't think V can get it, because Flunder does have Smite, remember, but good spotting there, actually. I think spotted the Q over the wall, making sure that, hang on a second, he's trying to take our Gromp away.
Yeah, actually still looking for it.
Fight.
It's a big battle for just the Gromp.
Ooh, going in, phase dive. Yeah, finding a bit of damage there. B doesn't quite get the passive proc on him though, so he'll be okay for now. But I mean, Flunder is playing aggressively. He's got aggressive items. Fiendish Codex completed now as well. Keeping the CS nice and even, but constantly looking for pressure onto V as Crystal's forced to use his ultimate in the bottom side. Far too afraid of all that CC.
And for good measure as well, because the amount of damage that TNT just put down to him, a BF sword each, but the pressure difference is the Janna cannot provide anything, whereas the Alistar with this ever-present threat of the knock-up headbutt combo, they still get him down to half health with just a small amount of poke.
See Flunder still pushing in, has to be careful of the Mega now though, does get scooped into the wall. Boulder toss in there, Wallop will find as well. Flunder, Corona breaks himself away, puts down the Parallel Convergence, Timewinder in as well. V though, doing too much damage, will get slowed as Flunder goes to safety. Minina might actually make this enough, he nails the slow, and now that's enough as Flunder going to land the Winder phase dive, going to take him back in, but V gets the 1v1.
They managed to pick up the kill, just hitting him with the cusp of that Gnar ultimate. ultimate, locking him down for long enough that there was no real way for a fight to come back. Using the ultimate there was Flandre to sustain for as long as possible, but again, nothing that he could really do there to stop that. A very, very strong and competent 1v1 there from the Nah.
And now V's got a Hex Drinker. Swift actually got the Dragon in and amongst all that as well. So a much better early time in the jungle as TNT dodges out of the way of the Tornado. And Crystal, you talked about it, just can't apply the same pressure. In fact, Swift is down here now. TCT going to come through. He doesn't have a spell shield. He has to flash. And Crystal wasted another summoner.
A very nice flash, though, wasting the headbutt at the same time, so they couldn't overcommit to anything without using summoners themselves. Sejuani was waiting around looking for that opportunity, but not actually able to find it as they do back off.
Well, the next time Swift visits the lane, it will not be nearly that easy for Crystal and Ella. They continue to put pressure on, keeping the CS reasonably close. Avarice Blade there, going to give Crystal a bit of extra money as well. But it's not that far from Swift taking over this game with a few more successful ganks.
It's only really going to take 1 or 2 more ganks. V very comfortable in this top lane in the 1v1 at the moment, as we saw a solo kill come out earlier. Starting to control that at the moment, even has the Hex Drinker for the lane pressure. Yeah. Damage and magic resistance, not just resistance.
Yeah, Flandre's actually abandoned the top lane. He's in towards the bottom side, but did get pinged out by QG. They're looking for a kill. They find Dombey in the jungle. Beast dives in with the body slam. You're going to line up the ulti and gets Dombey out, who's forced to flush away. Wildgrow popped in there as well as Ella joins into the party, and TCT turns it around, takes out Crystal, but Azir did get the kill onto Lulu.
So they trade 1 for 1 there as the pressure from Echo trying to come out, but it's not really easy to gank a lane as Echo, that is for sure. They look to just back off and take the 1 for 1 at the moment. Lulu for Crystal, not necessarily worth it, but a carry for a carry, you have to take what you can.
They will, and I mean, I think TNT's maybe the problem here. He's getting stronger. Swift also having a nice clear jungle means that he's getting stronger as well. It's about 1,000 gold ahead for QG, or just under, so no massive leads just yet, but they got Dragon #1. All they really have to do is keep the game here and then continue to snowball the objective.
Yeah, while the gold lead is not that big, it does feel like the momentum and the control of the map outright is in favor of QG. Whether it's by a small amount or a large amount, it is there. So needing to respect that is the side of Snake. And you can see Flandre not even wanting to be in a 1v1 until Nah disappears. So yeah, I mean, 1v0 preferred.
Yeah, he pushed the lane all the way back in. Now it finally goes back to his tower. So actually did a smart job roaming. He went from bottom lane to top lane and didn't need to use his teleport. So that's very good awareness there for Flandre of the minion waves.
It is Magus.
Oh, it is too. Because the Finnish Codex. So
yeah, first thought he was going for the Morellos because that was what we saw yesterday, but that's actually it's just a Magus.
Awesome. I mean, makes sense. It's all the jungle items are insanely cost efficient. Magus especially gives you so much. The problem is you don't normally have very many AP smite takers, but top Echo, sure.
I mean, realistically, the most cost-efficient build, which unfortunately he isn't doing, is that Tear of the Goddess and the Magus upgrade on jungle items.
Oh, Flandre, it's the ulti this time. Swift going to follow in. Chrono Break's going to come through. Flandre's going to try and dive out. Parallel Converter is down. He needs to land it. Still alive. Chases out onto Swift, but the Crop's going to take him out. Beast going to get the trade, though, and Swift barely escapes with his life.
Swift turning it around and just hitting him once before parading out there, managing to get the trade. Beast coming in there at the last second to get V as well, so another 1 for 1 trade.
If only Flandre had his smite, he actually would have been able to kill Swift, but couldn't smite someone. He didn't have the skirmisher save, and now goes back and finishes it. I mean, that's scary. That sounds like massive Echo dueling potential, but TCT finally gets discovered by Ella.
How are ya?
But not a whole lot coming there as TNT moves into zone them.
TNT is level 10 right now. He is so far past the side of Snake in bot lane experience levels that he is almost solo laning, and TCT can just sit in the side like he was right there and just saying g'day and leaving as soon as they actually spot him.
I mean, this is sort of what we saw Flandre do last game, actually, to V, by just getting so far ahead that there was nothing they could do. TNT in this game, he had the early empty lane. He was there for so long just soaking solo experience, and Crystal's just been playing from behind the entire time as Beast looks in for a kill here, but TNT and TCT just hop away.
Having a guzzle of his bottle and just looking to be around here and be a pest, letting Sivir push the lane out. They're putting pressure.
Yeah, they're going in. Tornado lands onto TCT. Fate's Calls pop there by TNT as the Alistar goes in onto Ella.
He just had to, didn't he?
He did. Gets to take quite a bit of damage as a result, but Swift is in the area without his ultimate, but still they're threatening if they do want to start a fight.
Yeah, definitely threatening. Just being there as a present threat, showing an issue here for Snake, because the engage, or at least trying to push the lane out, which is what I felt like they were really trying to do by Gragas being there. He wasn't trying to gank, he was just there as this ever-present threat to let Crystal push the lane out and recall. Instead, Swift being there kind of negates a lot of that being a possibility as the best friends rotate to the blue buff.
Yeah, blue buff goes in. Swift and Doinby staying connected at the hip as Beast rolls in and sees that his buff's already been stolen away. Dragon up in 35 seconds now as well, as Snake needs to, as you said, already recall to try and go for this Dragon. They're going to lose the tower on the bottom side. Doinby's actually backing away ever so slightly. Yu's keeping the lane in a decent spot, but team's going to have to start thinking about this next Dragon.
Yeah, they do need to start looking towards the Dragon. The mid lane very even, in fact dead even at the moment, but the control starting to go in favor of Yu. You can feel like he's just out sustaining his opponent here of Doinby, who isn't really having a big impact at the moment, but at the moment, the bot lane impact is real.
He's coming in, teleports the through though. It's actually going to be Flandre that comes first. V is available, but doesn't pop his teleport. TCT knocked back into the team. Beast now going to fight in over the Echo W, but it's a very nice double stun there. Timewinder moves in. TCT will go down, but TNT has so many arrows there. Gets hit by a Nado though, and now Yu's going to come around the side. The tower dive will move through. Crystal gets the kill. Yu's chasing down Swift. He wants it so bad, and in the end, Snake, a brilliant tower dive.
And Snake getting the rotational play this early in the game. Their map movements have been so impressive, finding trades in bad situations from being behind. They get the kill onto Siva. Echo being in the bot lane. It's just ridiculous, as we are seeing a replay of an earlier fight where Doinby, I believe, goes down at the same time the trade for Crystal was the trade-off. Yeah, he gets absolutely wrecked there by Snake. Yu going in massive. The Azir roam, this is where...
Picture. Crystal, though, actually goes down. TCT and TNT able to team up for that one, as we'll see this fight again.
So the big factor here, and it was starting to look like Qiao might actually get out alive, the stun from Flandre, locking down both members here. TNT, nothing he can really do as Flandre picks up the first kill. The second one is actually going to go down to Crystal eventually, as Azir zones them into the turret, which is what gives him a kill to begin with. Very smart play here from the Snake lineup. And
you can see fans celebrating across the audience there. Makes sense, the players have been pretty sick so far in the game, but QG, the ones that are really keeping on top of the Dragon at least, as they'll take themselves #2.
So they pick up the second Dragon here, and again, on the back of a team fight that just went in favor of Snake, being able to find something like that immediately is still a win here for the QG lineup. Flandre starting to come into his stride here a little bit on this Echo though, has the Magus Enchanted challenging Smite. And it's very interesting to even say that, but that's the thing.
That is the thing apparently, Flandre making it a thing, or at least maybe trying to, as he's continually keeping Na pushed back in the top side despite the CS deficit. Doinby though rotating to the bottom side, able to take out the turret, and TNT and TCT are in the mid lane here, just trying to keep it as healthy as they can, as Flandre, very sneaky, going to steal the blue buff, or at least try to.
Yeah, he's been controlling a lot of this topside jungle since the beginning of when they actually started doing the 1v1 lane again. Going for that Gromp constantly, or at least making it a hotly contested factor here for V, distracting him almost completely. And at the moment, we've got the Bloodthirster Q-stack in Kalista working towards that Hurricane.
Yeah, TNT is quite strong here. Double dagger to pop in with those Greaves and that Bloodthirster. Crystal's got his Infinity Edge and an Avarice Blade, so he's not too far behind despite the CS differential. But Snake, just a couple 1,000 gold, maybe 1,000 gold or so. It's actually less than that now, as it ekes back to about 600 between the teams. But QG just feel like they've had a little bit more control in the game so far.
Yeah, it feels like all of the control has been in favor of QG, but Snake making really smart rotations and map movements that just get them back in the game almost completely. From a small lead, a small advantage that looks like QG were going to be able to push that and stretch it into a bigger lead, has completely been wound back, and we're almost back to square one again, where the Echo is definitely still relevant. The Azir having an impact multiple times, out-roaming that of Doinby at the moment on the Lulu, and I mean, Snake have just turned it around.
They haven't. I guess my question as we move towards the mid-game now, 21 minutes have elapsed, 2 Dragons there for QG. How does Snake plan on dealing with TNT here? Because he is exceptionally strong on this Kalista.
To deal with TNT will involve a lot of Yu. He kind of, if you look at the side of Snake, Flandre is not going to be able to get into the backlines too competently unless he goes all in and has the Zonias. At the moment, not really being in possession of anything defensive whatsoever. It's going to be very risky for him to try and get past a Lulu, an Alistar, a Sejuani, and a Na just to get to the Kalista. That is near suicide at this stage in the game. So you're looking at the back of Yu. to try and put down some poke, force TNT out of lane into a bad position before a teamfight even starts, or he has to go all in and just straight out use that Emperor's Divide aggressively and catch TNT.
Woldak might have to give up the turret here as we see rotation from QG looking towards the mid lane. Swift and TCT clearing out wards on the side. Beast trying to clear the waves down quickly enough. Will keep the tower for now, but the blue buff going to get stolen away here by QG. Will finally be able to donate one over to Doneby after Flandre stole the other one. And it will go over to the Lulu. Things looking better and better here for QG, who are just trying to open up the map that little bit more.
They're going for this turret too.
It's dead.
Finally, TNT taking note of the fact that Doneby was tanking that tower for a very extended period of time. They do get it. It's now 3-2 in turrets and a slight advantage pulling ahead now. Yeah,
Snake just don't have that mid turret here. And QG again hold the dragon advantage. You did go back and get a death cap as Beast actually might have caught someone out, but Swift is going to be able to get himself over the wall. He's got his locket on Sejuani, looking nice and strong at this stage of the game. And this is what we talk about with Swift Sejuani in particular. When he has a free landing phase, he tends to take over mid and late games.
Build tanky, but still be so entirely relevant here is Swift on that Sejuani. 33 CS ahead at the moment of his jungling opposition of Beast, and starting to ramp ahead quite nicely, but taking a lot of damage for these. Is that worth it?
Smart stuff there from you, actually spotting Swift in the Raptor pit, but looking to go over there as Beast will steal away the big Raptor here. Snake are looking good. They're actually keeping Flandre on the top side and pressuring as much as they can in the mid. They know they have to open up the map to try and make more plays, and you, with his death cap just finished earlier, he's got so much strength to work with.
Yeah, getting those Lucidity boots, having the Morellos, he's at that max CDR peak, so his attack speed has been ramped up due to this fact, and it's only going to get stronger from here as they manage to pick up that that middle lane turret. That is one turret apiece each. We're dead even in turrets, and now the gold is about 400 also.
Yeah, Flandre going to try and take the Grump away. Should be able to get it here. V does not have a smite. Flandre does, but he almost misses it, able to get it away, and will back into the base to try and get his next item. I imagine Azonius will be what he wants, although Flandre needs to get over the wall. Does just get there with the phase dive. But he'll be get his back delayed a little bit more.
Let the man recall. We're trying to work out what he's building. I think it's going to be a Seeker's Arm Guard working towards, unless it's a Sheen, which will be an aggressive decision to make, and it might even be a straight Lichbane second item if that is the case.
That's hyper aggressive.
Hello.
Well, that's Flandre. It is a Sheen, so Lichbane second to follow the Magus. We want to talk about cost-efficient item builds. That's a fairly efficient one.
Yeah, it's up there with one of the most cost-efficient. Unfortunately, it does rely a lot on scaling damage with ability power, so indicating that he's going for the Lichbane says to me a bit of split pushing, with some team fights here and there when it feels right for him. And then he's going to get another item, most likely the Zonias, and that's when he'll team fight a lot.
I think so. I mean, Flandre's fighting and skirmishing has already looked good on this top lane Echo, but it is you that's got the big point of power. And Crystal as well, actually. This is a much more spring-looking Snake here than we've seen recently in weeks of the summer, just because Flandre, he's been getting so much more gold recently. This is, again, much more akin to where he used to be in LPL last season, where he just didn't get nearly that much gold, but was still able to make a big impact.
Yeah, definitely. They're starting to come back to their roots almost. The aggression across the board from all of the members here. They're starting to really control, get to that team fighting stage, just bide their time to where they are the absolute best at. And at the moment, QG, I do favor their team comp when it comes to team fighting almost entirely. There's a bit of a damage discrepancy between the mid laners and even the top laners to a degree, but if they can get their items, MR stacking, and the third dragon.
Well, this is an important dragon for them to get, but TNT is very strong. Gragas will get it. Swift, though, diving in, finds the ulti. Flandre's diving his way back in. Crystal, though, taking too much damage, will go down. Flandre really wants TNT, but the Fate Skull is going to keep him safe. Flandre trying to find it, but a massive Nara ultimate's going to clean them up. Beast flashes to his death as Sejuani takes that out, and 4 kills to 0. Snake paid for that dragon.
And this is QG in a nutshell. They've got Swift to initiate. Their team comp is disgusting. They've got V with the Nard, Doinby actually picking up a double kill there, the Lulu utility, and TNT just kiting around in the background, never goes down.
And they're going to look for Baron here as well. Should be able to pick it up with the Callista, and Swift still having his smite ready to go. You trying to poke his way in, but getting zoned out by TCT. And Flandre, we were wrong, Rusty. It's not a Lichbane, it's a Trinity Force.
It's a Trinity Force with a Magus.
Sure.
That's interesting. You
is.
You just do you, Flandre, all right? I'll do me.
Yep.
I have questions, but I don't need answers.
Well, Flandre's definitely doing him now as, again, very creative is Flandre. Perhaps ambitious at times as well as QG. now rolled themselves up to about 4,000 gold ahead, picked up the Baron. They have all the momentum at this stage. We're talking about Snake needing to look for a fight. It's good that they halted the Dragon Snowball, but they lost a whole lot as a result of that.
Yeah, actually going for that, getting to their teamfight stage, but the way that they actually played that teamfight out was not ideal. Sejuani being able to get an engage, and this was one of the big questions that we posed earlier, is how is the Snake lineup supposed to engage a fight? You compare that to the side of Xiaogu. They have multiple sources, multiple options and avenues to approach to actually come out ahead in a fight. All it takes is the Alistar, the Sejuani, the Na, even the Fate's Call from the Kalista if we want to get adventurous, in ways that they can engage a fight compared to Beast, who is a very dodgeable engage with the explosive cast. You've got a Sivir ultimate to speed them up, of course, but then for the most part, it's actually almost just entirely on the back of you.
Yeah, I feel like Flandre is doing one of his old split push builds here where he just wants to push away.
Feels like.
If he's getting forced into team fighting, that's not going to work for him all that well, as Snake are trying to line things up and clear out the minions as best they can. They'll protect this turret for as long as they can hold it, but QG looking to try and knock down some of the tier 2s with the Baron buff.
I mean, he might be looking to go for that split pushing build here. The Trinity Force is still good on Echo. I would never discredit it as a good item. He's very auto attack based, has that passive which works very well with it. But then in saying that, if they're forcing you to team fight and you're going to go for a Trinity Force build, why not go for a Frozen Heart or MR first?
Parallel Convergence down, trying to zone them off. Snake again doing everything they can to protect the turrets, but enough poke coming into the turrets. The Baron minions doing just enough work, although Flandre takes out the cannon with a Time Winder. I mean, QG is struggling a little bit here to try and actually knock down turrets, but splitting up a bit more, forcing Snake to run between them. It'll take a little while, but they'll eventually get them.
Yeah, it's just rotational. They're looking to get some control from map movements.
Oh, TNT in trouble, gets stunned there by the W. Swift, though, dives in as Flandre really wants it. TNT gets low, the tower will fall, and the Emperor's Divide's going to try and keep them out. Flandre bobs back in. He wants TNT so bad, but the Wild Growth makes it impossible. QG Swift now getting low, will actually fall there to the Azir. Beast gets B back into the team as Ella resets with a Monsoon, but it's 2-for-1 now in favor of QG.
We've been calling him adventurous, but I'm starting to lean towards the side of almost foolish here. Going in super ham by himself, not actually able to get the kill because TNT is just a monster of a man right now. Only 0, 1, and 6 to support Kalista, but you cannot take him down.
No, we talked about it. How do they deal with this Kalista? That's the biggest problem. They've got so much support for him between the massive front line and the Lulu Wild Growth. And you saw there, they couldn't kill TNT, and he just killed everything else.
And this is something that I did mention before, but I actually want to stress the fact now, is if they're forcing you to team fight, Xiaogu have an exceptionally good team fighting composition. They can just go on you for days. So why would you go for that Trinity Force over a tank item prioritized to ramp up your team fighting capabilities? Because you're not going to be able to split push here if you are Flandre. You have to fight. You have to respect that they're going to be forcing fights if you're not there. And then in a team fight, just going all in and actually dying almost instantly to the damage that comes out of this Xiaogu lineup.
And if you did want to go more damage, we saw the Zhonya's from Rookie yesterday. That is a team fighting option that he has. So I think I agree. Flandre is working on the Trinity Force. We'll see if it makes enough of a difference, as he should have the gold for it fairly soon. But Snake are falling further and further behind. And Snake went behind, a very different to Snake went ahead. 5,000 gold behind already in QG. Again, much like Snake were about this far ahead, but felt much more because of the experience. QG, with their 5,000 gold lead, feel much further ahead just based on their team comp.
Yeah, both of these teams seem to be relying a lot on momentum in the way that they work around getting to the team fight stages. If Snake are behind, they do start to struggle. And we noted the same thing from Xiaogu in the last game. It's just that now that the team is ahead here on the Xiaogu side, they just have multiple ways of actually attempting to close out this game. They've got 2-1 in Dragons, the next one up in 50 seconds, 6-3 in turrets at the moment, and the gold lead's starting to stretch. They've got multiple avenues to attack for engagement, and they can just move around the map and make big controlling decisions and force Snake to play to their hand. And
that's exactly what they're doing right now, just forcing Snake into bad decisions. Flandre did complete his Trinity Force, but that 6 turret does fall in the mid lane, and we've got super minions streaming into the bottom side of the map as well. Flandre is forced to run himself back and clear them out from under the turrets, but that means QG, with their great dive, might just look to dive straight in onto the back.
Yeah, what are Snake going to do now, knowing that Flandre is not here? He has the teleport available, so can come in for a fight, but the dive is an ever-present threat. They've got a Sejuani and an Alistar. Diving isn't even a concern for them right now. It's a matter of, is the engage good?
You can see Yu is too busy trying to keep them off the engage.
There it is.
Flandre hits the ulti there, so do Yu and Ella. There's the Emperor's of I going to keep them out. Flandre puts down the W, but he can't find a way back in. Doesn't walk back with his ulti. He's actually too low. He might be forced back to base here. And QG, take the poke and keep pushing.
Only one ultimate used here from the side of Xiaogu, where you look at this, the Emperor's Divide and the Sivir ultimate being popped here. That's all of their engage tools from the side of Snake completely out the window. And it's going to be very difficult for them to deal with this repeated aggression. They can force this into an easy dragon, and with Baron in a minute as well, that could be in consideration.
Yeah, they've got plenty of options here, so they'll back out of the base, leave Snake to clear out the minions in the bottom side and the wards in their jungle, and just move towards their third dragon.
Snake? I was confused for a second there, but yeah, you're right. They're pretty much open to do as they please right now. It's on the back of Xiaogu to close this game out convincingly. It's their game to lose, and it's on the back of Snake to try and capitalize on any mistakes that come out here from Xiaogu and try and find their eye into an actual avenue to get back in this game. We see the Trinity Force now completed with a Magus Enchantment challenging Smite Echo on Flandre. I just have questions for days. That's not even
You and everybody else, I think, because Flandre doing his best to get the minions out of the base. He's actually caught up in CS. Now it's like Glacial Shroud, so he's a bit more of a bruiser Echo. But TNT, he's the real problem here in this team. He's got three items already. One of them's actually a Banshee's Veil and a pickaxe there for the eventual last Whisper. Just doing so much work. Swift and TCT will team up for the Dragon. It'll take a little while, but Snake can't get anywhere close to the area, so not a particularly threatening thing either. Swift is massive here. Doinby's getting massive there as well, actually. The third Dragon goes to QG, and they're going to look straight for that Baron. Yeah, no doubt. Looking for the Baron. You can see the side of Snake found the opportunity to put down some vision control at the very least, or take some away to prolong that. But I really like the itemization here from V, from TNT, and from Doinby. They've all gone for the Banshee's Veil, and that removes, if there was any engage potential from Snake, that's completely non-existent anymore. And it's just completely controlled by this QG roster now. Good luck. Snake actually managed to take the Scuttle Crab away as V starts to get aggressive onto Flandre. Mini now, we talked about it. Pretty potent lane bully there, so Flandre will actually back himself away from the lane, knowing that he can't quite fight the Nard just yet. We've got 3 items for Crystal. He does do decent damage. Yu actually does exceptional damage as well. So if he can set up nicely, he'll be able to do some work here. But the team fight that Snake are actually able to win, where Yu does full damage to key targets, it just might be a bit too tricky. In fact, QG are going to force them in the ulti pop by Sivir just so they can get out safely. Yeah, they had to pop that ultimate, and the Janna using the talisman actually to get them out to safety at the same time. But again, they're on the retreat. They're on the back foot. QG are able to force the Dragon, so you can't continue to run away. Yeah, Flandre's come in. He's popped down the W, but it's not quite in the right spot. Emperor's Divide trying to keep them out. V can't dive in there as he tries to crunch through, but TCT, he's found Crystals, forced to flash over the wall. He's got nothing left to go as Swift dies on top of him, and TCT will get the first kill. TNT now moving in. He wants it. Beast backs through the parallel converter, but Swift with a massive ulti. Flandre is going to go down. No! Chrono breaks just in time, but still goes down to V, and Yu trying to do what he can as Ella, the only one left alive, means that Snake lose 3 members. Beast is alive, but he's so low. 4 members of Snake go down, and QG just taken over. Yeah, definitely taking it over right now. A convincing teamfight victory. Nobody going down for 4 members of Snake. They force the Baron, they force the objective, and you can see TNT wants the ace. He does want it, and he's going to look to get it. Pierce goes through, Ren comes in, and TNT claims his first kill of the game. He finally gets a kill. No doubt that's why he went so far to get that. He was getting a little bit annoyed that he does all this work and doesn't find a kill. They get the bottom lane inhibitor. They're working on the mid lane turret, but Sivir is available now, so an interesting rotational play here from the side of Xiaogu to opt for that kill instead of having Kalista push with them and not even get the mid lane turret for it. They do get the inhibitor, and that forces an easy Baron though. Yeah, Snake might lose the minimum here, which is interesting, but QG going to get themselves back onto the Baron. As soon as Kalista starts a Baron, it feels like you're never going to get it. If the Kalista gets enough Ren stacks on it, nobody but the Kalista can actually get that Baron. They do have a low member here in Swift who has no mana, but he does have a smite available, and if they look to steal this, it's pretty risky. Ella's trying to be annoying, but there might be enough of them to force a team fight. Crystal's here as well. Baron goes down, And Snake, they pop the Sivir ulti, but they can't get in for a fight.
A very early smite, but just not there in time to stop it from going down. They pick up the Baron. QG in a commanding position now with an 11,000 gold lead. It's on them to try and close this game out as best as they can. But can Snake really do anything to stop it? We'll soon find out.
I mean, they're trying. I mean, Snake always team fight well, whether they're behind 10,000 gold or 1,000 gold.
Yeah, but I mean, a 2-6 Echo who's down a ridiculous amount. He has a lot of money, but his item build is what is putting him down. He can basically afford that Frozen Heart right now, and this is their best chance to find an opportunity to fight.
I mean, they're going to get one soon. QG do not want this game to go on too much longer here, because trying to bring Snake into the late game is a bit of a scary proposition, but just team fight for team fight, QG have so much work they can do.
Yeah, they do. They've just got so many options again. Their team is actually ridiculous. From drafting alone, you look at this QG lineup and think to yourself, how on earth did they get this team comp? Alistar, Kalista, bot lane. You can stop there. How did that even happen?
Well, they didn't ban away Kalista, and that's sort of how it started, as Snake trying to keep this game in their grasp, but QG making that a much more difficult task as time ticks on. Dragon going to be up in a minute 45. That'll be the fourth there for QG. If 5 Dragons is the real win condition that they want to look for. Other than that, TNT just sort of hanging out. He actually wants his red buff so bad that he's not joining his team.
He's going to get the red buff. He's just trolling around at the moment so that he has the red buff to get that extra little bit of kite potential. Like a Kalista doesn't have enough already. They're going to be able to push in the mid lane. The top lane isn't even a priority for them to control the minion waves at the moment. They just want to hard push this mid and work with the bottom super minions that are already in the base.
I mean, Flandre's done an admirable job of keeping the minions out here, but Baron buff's on there as well. QG just going to continue to apply more pressure, and that mid turret will not last long as the minion wave pushes in.
Should be this wave.
Should die in. TNT actually, yep, orders it down. We'll be able to take it through. Beast dives in, gets the damage onto Q. But Swift there with the ulti, actually kept up by Emperor's Divide. V can't get over it. They just need to kite for a little while longer over on the side. Crystal's actually found Doinby as he forces out the wild quest. Flandre dives back in, tries to use his ulti, but doesn't have it and goes down. And they just can't get anything done. Yu goes down. Crystal still fighting in the backside as Ella dies as well. And it's Beast and Crystal versus the world. Doinby isn't going to get clipped by the boomerang either. The rest of QG descends. Crystal uses his heal, but he's going to die for TNT's double, and QG will take the game.
An admirable attempt there from Crystal, but the back of that, the rest of his team just had nothing they can provide to this fight right now. The lead is just so big. The Alistar, the Sejuani, all so tanky as they just surrender the game and let it go.
Yeah, Snake realized that it's done, and QG just roll over Snake in that second game there. Snake went really far off the deep end in that